The latest highly innovative product from the Duotone wing range is the Float, a specific wave wing with easy handling. Essential for a wave wing is of course the front handle. Here, Duotone has specifically designed and ergonomically equipped the Float with a large, wide and sufficiently stiff handle, with which you can really guide the wing very well and also easily switch hands, with two hands meaning you can simply perform a pass. The wing is inflated and deflated through a large, well-known inlet and outlet valve. Additionally, there is a dump valve in the center strut, and the one-pump system is very short and absolutely straight. The front tube and the cross strut are made from a high-strength Dacron material, which we already know from other manufacturers. The whole thing is sealed with a cater seam with additional webbing, and it is carefully doubled and sewn from the inside. The canopy fabric is a mix of Penta TX, a combination of double and triple ripstop material, and the well-known Mod 3, which is extensively and widely used in the area of the trailing edge. Additionally, there are two more battens in the trailing edge. Impact and abrasion areas are reinforced with rubberized fabric. The Float has a slightly less than average profile depth, and this is slightly supported by an infill panel which is very short and is open at the front and just a little right at the very back. We already know the new boom from the unit, which was recently in our test. It is minimally designed as a revolver handle in the front area, meaning the front area is somewhat higher and the grip bar is slightly overall ovalized in shape. The whole thing is easy to grip with and without gloves, but larger hands are preferred here. The wing has an overall consistently good fabric tension, and the deepest point of the profile is, compared to its predecessor, if you will, the Slick, somewhat further towards, in terms of design, moved back, which noticeably reduces the resistance in all maneuvers or when riding the wave to windward. The V across the entire width is overall quite minimal. Generally speaking, everything is neatly processed and designed to be weight optimized here. Upon first contact on land, we notice that this is indeed an extremely lightweight wing, especially in comparison to all other competitors. However, indeed, the feel doesn't quite reflect the value we measured. Overall, it feels slightly heavier, but still remains in the lightweight category. Thanks to a fairly large sweet spot, which allows for more forgiving hits and enhances playability, and a good balance that ensures stability and control. This combination provides lift that consistently pulls upwards. The takeoff process is made simple and easy here. And starting on the foil poses no problems, as the wide, generally speaking sweet spot allows for an ideal course from upwind to deep broad reach, leads to a really early result. For the beam reach, the best possible technique here is a medium frequency when pumping. If you choose a deeper broad reach, a light shoveling motion is enough to get on the foil very early. In the flying state, we notice that the profile is well balanced from the leading edge to the trailing edge, and we have a really nicely fixed center of pressure, which makes effortless. One-handed flying is possible thanks to the full-length control bar without any problems. Ease of use, which is also highlighted or distinguished by Duotone in their description of the wing, can definitely be emphasized here as well. This harmonious impression continues effortlessly and smoothly in maneuver handling, whether when jibing or in various conditions. Tacking, the whole process here is effortless and requires little strength, as the float more or less automatically moves into the correct position. We did not observe any significant nodding or stalling at any point at all, nor any kind of unnecessary excessive pulling to windward. If you lead it over your head, when turning and maybe get a little late in certain situations, it may lift a little and wobble slightly, but ultimately It's also a matter of one's own timing, where if done correctly, you can avoid this altogether. What we really liked was that after the maneuver, the flow immediately reattaches to the wing, and you get absolutely consistent propulsion. This characteristic was also already a feature of the previously tested Duotone unit, and the same continues here. These characteristics, although with a bit more resistance against the wind, were also present in the slick before. The whole thing is refined a little more here and is really very pleasant for maneuver enthusiasts. The jumping characteristics of the float are consistently good, but there wasn't really an excessive focus placed on it, as it would need to be a bit faster in its top speed. In this specific area, the unit in the Duotone wing range clearly has significant advantages and distinct benefits. Nevertheless, you can reliably perform all basic jumps and even simple rotations well here, because it turns quite quickly overall. But as mentioned, to achieve the right height, it could slightly produce a bit more lift. But let's get to the main topic, surfing in the wave with this wing here. Duotone clearly focuses its advertising here, and in this area it's naturally about how neutrally the float can be guided at the front strap, how much resistance it has when surfing upwind, and how in a very neutral and balanced manner it glides effortlessly and smoothly along in the air when we approach the wing and have it in front of us. So how well does the trailing edge float along? And it can be clearly said it delivers better results here than the models we have previously been presented by Duotone. First, we naturally look at the front strap. This is a point that we have criticized in almost every test. Until now, it was always very small and very soft. You really had little guidance and little control over the wing when it moved into swinging on its own in any way and such, and that makes it is definitely much easier to control now with the significantly wider and much firmer front loop. Additionally, simple hand changes are very effortless. That's not a problem at all, because the width is sufficient to fit two large hands side by side, which is something that is already known from other manufacturers. In some cases, the front loops are molded. Here we have a normal webbing construction, but it works really well. How does the float respond to guidance? In general, it has overall and a little bit less V in its shape, in its design, which means we need a bit more force overall to guide it compared to some other competitors. A good example was during the same period we also tested the F1 Strike, which gets by with a little more V, has a similar profile design, and there the steering was really possible with less force on the front strap without further ado. Nevertheless, the result here is definitely better than with the predecessors, so really good. Additionally, it can be noted that it does not oscillate or sway from tip to tip in any way something. We also notice with the unit here and there, and which is usually clearly visible in every video, even in the team videos. We now have this completely under control with the float, looking at different conditions with side offshore wind and also sometimes during rides upwind. We have very little resistance from the leading edge and the entire overall profile. Here, entirely nothing flutters, which is overall very pleasant indeed, and it does not oscillate either and can be controlled very nicely throughout. When we have the wing in front of us during down the line rides, the trailing edge noticeably dips slightly and gently a bit, which causing the float to react, to be held slightly more higher overall, which means that the hand guiding the wing needs to be oriented a bit more upwards overall. The same applies when you ride more actively and closer to the face of the wave. Meaning when you make tighter turns on the wave, the hand must always be stretched significantly higher during the turn to avoid hitting the back edge. Here it doesn't quite conform to the as perhaps one or other competitor in this purely special wave segment. As a caveat from our side, I must clearly state in this case that we are critiquing at a really extremely high level here, simply because it is indeed a special wing that must be explicitly well suited for waves and also for the free ride sector or for enthusiasts. Freestyle maneuvers and the like, such as spins and flips. The float does all these things and more, really well to extremely very well, and in these tiny little details, we must, nowadays, due to the large number of competitors, also highlight and work out even the smallest differences, even the slightest. There's no other way around it. In terms of maneuverability, definitely in the wave, from quick turns, spins and the like, we have here a truly absolutely beautiful neutral wing that really challenges one to play in the wave and explore the dynamics of the... Therefore, this topic is really beautifully addressed here at 100%. Accordingly, the target group is also 100% reached in the conclusion here, but nevertheless, the range of use of the float is, one can clearly say, significantly larger. This free ride sector, or as Duotone calls it, free fly, here the free rider is addressed who wants to ride with a focus on maneuvers, so wants to enjoy wing maneuvers in quick succession. This is absolutely top-notch with the float. This combination of incredibly quick and precise maneuver handling and also designed to enhance performance and efficiency, absolutely intuitive maneuver handling with really good wave characteristics means the wave-oriented free rider is perfectly catered to here at 100%. Since it is easy to launch, it has a lightweight design and is easy to handle and overall shows no quirks. Even an absolute beginner who perhaps does not have the highest weight can be very happy and satisfied with this wing. For us it feels more like a wing that consistently and reliably provides easy and enjoyable fun, and perhaps, in one or two scenarios, two small aspects could in some ways fit a little bit more effectively to the wave, and with even less effort, almost effortless, when handling the wings. The internal distinction from the already existing unit is now clearer than it was with the Slick before, and we really like that overall, because it simply makes it easier and clearly helps to decide which wing you might prefer in your decision-making process. Approximately 5 square meters of the float cost 1,039 euros here, but then there's also the Fusion Boom, which contributes an additional 99 euros to the total cost. Overall, this is a price that is slightly below average, and overall we can only say in this test, this new float was fun for us.